Police did 2 welfare checks on Ruby's kids way before this arrest happened. One of those welfare checks was actually made or requested by Ruby's oldest daughter, Shari. And still nothing happened back then? What's going on with 5-0, guys? What's up, y'all? It's your boy Pascal back at it again with another pop-up video. Be sure to follow me on all my social medias, The Pascal Show, one word. Hit that like button down below. And let's not forget to crush that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're watching on Facebook, please be sure to crush that follow button on my Facebook page as well, if this is your first time checking out this channel right here. Anyway, we got to jump into this story. We're going to be jumping into this one pretty quick. But we have been covering and following very closely the Ruby Franke, Jody Hildebrandt, 8 Passengers, YouTube channel, etc. All the crazy charges that both women are looking at right now, how these kids were found in dire straits and in really bad shape and all that. But now there's some more information here. Like I said in the intro, and I'm not kidding, this is real. Police did do 2 welfare checks on those kids way before August, this past month, when Ruby was arrested. And one of those welfare checks, get this, was done by Shari, her oldest daughter. Her own daughter called police and said, hey, I need you guys to check on my siblings. I'm really concerned about them, so on and so forth. And what did police do? As we already know the end. They didn't do anything. But there was 2 opportunities right there to save these kids' lives, to put them out of out of harm's way. And unfortunately, nothing happened. Let's take a look at this article. Like I said, this one's thick, but there's a lot being said in here, and I think it's really important for us all to consume it and just, nom, okay? But put it in our brain matter, because this is insane. And I got questions, so get ready for them. But as you can see, 2 welfare checks. One of them was done by their own daughter right here, okay? The oldest daughter was concerned, and still nothing happened, okay? Let's look at this. Police conducted 2 welfare checks at Ruby Franke's home in the year leading up to the family YouTuber's arrest in August, including one visit that Franke's eldest daughter requested on behalf of her younger siblings last year. During a September 2022 welfare check, multiple neighbors told police that Franke often left her young children home alone for several days at a time to go visit her bestie, her one and only, right? Okay, her business partner, Judy Hildebrandt, and she actually lives 3 hours away from where Ruby Franke and the kids actually live, by the way, leaving the kids with quote-unquote strict rules not to go anywhere or do anything, according to Springville Police Department documents obtained by The Insider, the article I'm reading right here. Franke, the Utah mother of 6, we already know about her story, rise into fame. Then she shut down that 8 Passengers YouTube channel, started a new channel with her business partner, some people are saying her lover, I don't know, but Jody Hildebrandt, okay, who is the founder and the face of Connections, and they were trying to create, I don't know, a space to counsel and be inspirational, for lack of, let's not even say those words, but you get what I'm saying. Trying to be gurus, but they weren't practicing what they were preaching. They were doing something completely more sinister behind closed doors. Okay, so much that Ruby Franke's own 12-year-old son climbed out of a window, escaping from the house to go next door asking for food and water. The neighbors saw that child was in bad shape, and guess what? They called the cops, like they should have, like any other person would. Cops took that boy in. They went over and later found Franke's 10-year-old daughter as well, also in Hildebrandt's home, in the exact bad shape as the 12-year-old boy. And again, let me just say this again. It takes a lot. I know I say this all the time, but it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the truth. It takes a lot to get a kid to look for any person to look like they are malnourished. It takes a lot of time to do that. And that's really, really messed up. So Jody and Ruby are looking at some serious charges. Okay. And right now they are held without bail as of the recording of this. They might get free, but I hope that they don't, because apparently there's a crazy, copious, as they said, copious amounts of evidence that could be stacking up against both of them right now. But let's move on. Ruby Franke's eldest daughter, Shari, asked police to visit her mother's home on September 18th, 2022, saying neighbors had informed her that her younger siblings were home alone, according to Springville Police, the Springville Police Department incident report obtained by The Insider. So Shari told police her sisters and brother had been alone in the house for about 5 days, while their mom was in St. George, Utah with her bestie. Shari asked authorities to check on the kids and make sure they had food and were safe. Shari, who is a junior, she's a junior at BYU, the Brigham Young University, publicly applauded her mother's arrest earlier this month. Remember the post? She said, finally, and she said, we've been trying to get my siblings safe and out of harm's way from my mother's hands and all that stuff, right? So she spoke about her, but she also did speak about her estrangement from her mother in a April 2023 podcast appearance, saying they had broken away, or she had broken away from her family soon after her parents became involved with connections around the summer of 2022. Now, I wish I saw that or heard that podcast. I'm going to be looking up that podcast for show. Moving on. According to the police report, multiple officers, get this, multiple officers went to Franke's house in September 2022 and were able to see the kids through the windows, but were unable to make contact because the children wouldn't answer the door. The reporting officers said they could see the children on the phone, and they eventually went upstairs and out of sight. Now, here's the thing. You got a welfare check saying, hey, can you go please check on my siblings, or neighbors calling in and going, hey, can you please go check on these kids? We know for a fact Ruby got into a car and kicked rocks, and it's been days. We're just concerned about these kids. So cops show up, knock on the door, see that the kids are in there, but they don't see any parental units at all. Any person that would give off, I don't know, any adult. And then the kids don't knock on or don't open the door when they knock on the door. Is that as much as they can do? Are they stuck after that? Like, did the cops hit a wall after that? Because it just doesn't seem to make any sense. Oh, because they're in their private domicile, you can't go and get a warrant or anything of that sort, so you can bust the door open and make sure those kids are okay or anything? I'm just saying, it's not, the math is not mathing to me. So they're just like, oh, they're fine, and they leave? These kids run away, they dash away, hiding when police clearly see them through the windows, and then nothing happens? Like I said, it just doesn't make sense. Wouldn't they be doing more? These are kids, these are babies, basically, all by themselves, unattended to. I don't know. Like I said, something's not right here. And that part that part does not make any sense. The other part I want to say too is this what happened before or after she was papering up the windows and blocking people's visage into the house? That's another question I have as well. I'm assuming she started doing that after the police started showing up, but I don't know. Let's continue. That just doesn't make any sense. Officers noticed several neighbors standing around watching the welfare check who looked, quote unquote, very interested in the police presence, according to the report. Yeah, because they were sitting there. They know something's not right in that house and they're wanting to figure out what the hell's going on. So clearly they're like, finally, some justice. And then nothing happened. People stood outside because they wanted to see some action. They wanted to see justice done. And what happened? Not a damn thing. The neighbors quickly started telling police about how Ruby would often leave her kids home alone for extended periods of time. So she could go visit her bestie, Jody Hildebrandt, in St. George, the report said. So they've been known all about this, y'all. One neighbor told authorities she had a camera at her residence that would have confirmed Ruby's vehicle had been gone since September 14th, 2022. And the check was requested on the 18th of September. So that's 4 whole days that those kids were there without any parental unit, without any guidance, unattended to for 4 days straight. Another neighbor claimed to have a source in St. George who saw Ruby's vehicle parked outside Jody Hildebrandt's residence that week, according to the incident report. And still nothing happened. Everyone who came to the scene was very concerned about the children and them being left home alone. The reporting officer wrote, they expressed great concern about the 2 youngest children being homeschooled while the older 2 go to a public school. That's interesting as well. It is not clear where Franke's eldest son, Chad, was at the time, though reports suggest he may also be estranged from his mother. Clearly, that's another thing too. I have yet to hear anything about Chad throughout this whole thing. He has not spoken out. We haven't heard he hasn't done anything from what I've heard so far. He hasn't put up any social media alerts, nothing. He hasn't chimed in at all. He hasn't thrown out a little Instagram story saying finally, nothing, at least from what I've seen. If you guys have seen it, please let me know. But I have not seen anything from Chad at all. An attorney for Ruby's husband, Kevin, told media outlets this month that the couple has been separated, which we already know, for the past 13 months. All right. And of course, they've reached out, but the attorneys for Jody and Ruby, they have not responded back for any requests for comments. It's just crazy to think that this is the same woman. These are the 2. Let's not forget he's involved as well. He may not be locked up right now, but he's involved with this mother-loving ish as well. So let's get on to the next part. Police were called back to Franke's home just weeks later. And still, nothing happened. Nothing happened, y'all. Still not a damn thing over here as well. Okay? This is ridiculous. Let's look at this. Authorities were back at the Franke's home less than a month later when authorities received a Department of Child and Family Services report regarding this possible thing. I can't even say these things. The DCFS report also alleged Ruby would leave her kids at home for multiple days with no means of transportation or contact while she visited Jody Hildebrandt in St. George. Same report, by the way. Same reports that we were hearing from neighbors around the hood, around the block. Same old stuff, but let's continue. A caseworker said she had been to the Franke residence several times to try and make contact with kids, but neither Ruby nor the kids would answer the door or pick up the phone. An October 5th, 2022 incident report said. This was like 2-3 weeks later, baby. This is like 2 weeks. You have got to be kidding me. In a December update, police said a warrant for the caseworker to speak with the children was not approved. Say that again. In a December update, so a few months later, police said a warrant for the caseworker to speak with the children was not approved. Excuse me, why? Why? Why can't they go and do that? When you have DCFS taking a look into this stuff, seeing that these kids are being left behind, unattended to, etc. Why were they not approved? Why was this caseworker not approved to go and speak with the children and speak with the family or do their due diligence, dive into this situation, investigate, do their mother-loving job? Why? Something ain't right here, y'all. Moving on. Police were also called to Ruby's neighborhood earlier that year when a DCFS worker reported 2 young kids running around in the road unsupervised in April of 2022. According to police records obtained by Insider, an officer drove through the area but didn't see the kids still in the street. Neighbors who lived by Ruby, as well as other people who lived near Hildebrandt, have spoken out since the vlogger's arrest, saying they saw the kids, which we've reported this before too, saying that they saw the kids pulling weeds in 100-degree heat, which is crazy to do to any human being, let alone children. One neighbor told Rolling Stone they called police multiple times about the children. And of course, we already know this quote that has been said so many different times, but everyone is breathing a collective sigh of relief because we thought they were going to come out of the house with these kids in bad shape, gone. Now, in body bags, I'll just say it. Now, this to me is absolutely crazy. Okay? When you hear that there were multiple, or that there were attempts on police part, I feel like there were failed attempts on law enforcement side to dive in and find out what was going on with these kids. You have Shari, who felt like something's not right, that something unwell is happening behind those closed doors to her own siblings. She even called and made a request to say, hey, please go check on my family. Please save my sisters and my brother. They're in bad shape. My mom is too far gone. I can't talk to her. I can't reach out to her. I can't get through to her. Her brain has been scrambled too much by these connections, way of life, and by Jody's influence, okay? Cancerous influence. I need somebody that can go in there and get those kids out and bring them home or bring them away and take them to safety. And guess what happens? Still nothing. Now, I've talked about this many times before, but I'm going to say it now before I end this video. And we've heard from experts speak out saying it takes multiple times for any child to be believed when they're in dire straits. Unfortunately, it seems like we're seeing that right here. These kids were supposed to be able to lean over and get support and find salvation and refuge from law enforcement. But none of that happened. They literally had to save themselves. They had to take matters into their own hands and save themselves. Thank goodness that happened. But I wonder what would have happened if they stayed there one more day. You have DCFS, a caseworker that was trying to look into this particular case. and their requests were not approved. Imagine if those cases were actually, or those requests were actually approved. Those kids would be somewhere away from this monster of a mother, for sure. Anyway, guys, that's the video. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. I mean, this is a very, very large pill to swallow. I know I've said that a billion times before, but it is. This story keeps peeling back. We start to hear more and more information. Now we can understand why Shari said finally. We get that piece now, because I'm sure that's not the only request that she made. And we heard countless, and before we've heard countless neighbors speaking out, making reports for themselves. How many reports does it take? How many 911 calls, etc., does it take to save a child? Think about that. Think about that. Because it seems like it took a whole village to make phone calls and put in reports and talk to cops outside of the Franke family's home and all that. And guess what? Still nothing happened. They just have a bunch of paperwork, a whole bunch of forms and reports just piling up in a manila folder for us now to look at, shaking our doggone heads. When it should be different. It should be the opposite, y'all. It should be the opposite. These kids should have been saved. Anyway, guys, that's the video. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Where do you stand on this? What are your thoughts, etc.? To me, I know it. Sometimes these things take time, take a minute to get the ball moving, but at the same time, no, man, there should not be a revving up, if you will, to saving children. That's just my thoughts. That's just my thought. Anyway, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Hit that like button down below. Don't forget to crush that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Also, do not forget, if you're watching on Facebook, crush that follow button on my Facebook page. That would be greatly appreciated. It'd be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family on both platforms. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys in the next video. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.